Hey Warham fam, welcome back to our channel. I'm Debbie.
I'm Darren.
And no, I haven't decided to join Captain Jack Sparrow.
No.
I have got a reason for this. And the reason is I can't cope with light very well at the moment in this eye. So to fill you in, just over a week and a half ago, I started getting quite a red eye to start off with. It progressed over that weekend to being like having a fireball of heat. It was horrendous. It felt really bruised, not any of the places that you'd expect it to, but it felt so sore and painful. And considering I'm on enough painkillers to knock out a small bull elephant, knew something wasn't quite right. It also wasn't gushing a load of horrible stuff like you get with conjunctivitis. I've had that previously, and to be honest, I was a little bit lost. I was thinking, has hay fever got that bad? So it started affecting how my nasal bit was just irritation all the time, and it also made my mouth hurt on this side. However, that's not unusual. If you've got a problem with your ear, your tooth, or your sinuses, anything in this, it's all connected. So it doesn't really give you too much of a clue. I was very fortunate. My doctor came and saw me. To be fair, they always come to see me, but my favourite doctor came to see me. And he did some checks and what have you, and he tapped round here, which didn't hurt me because it was further in that it was feeling bruised and painful. He checked that my pupils were moving at that point and that I could move my eyes. They always check both, even though only one's affected. And it was pretty angry looking, to say the least. So we had a bit of a conversation, and we decided to try hay fever relief.
Yeah, he reckoned it was allergy, didn't he?
Yeah, because from then, you see, that's what we were thinking. Oh no, I'm never that straightforward.
No. It was bank holiday weekend as well, so you couldn't...
Yeah, this is it. So he unfortunately, and this is the only thing that's a bit of a bone of contention, I do not blame the pharmacists. I blame the fact that they keep putting in more and more houses and there isn't enough amenities to cope with it. Yeah. Now, the reason I say this is normally, or what I perceived as normal, was you used to get a prescription from your doctors, you'd go to the pharmacist and they would fill it. 3 days.
Yes, well, it was Wednesday we got it.
Yeah, we got it late on on Wednesday, so it was nearly 3 days, if you know what I mean.
2 days, yeah.
2 days. That was after me phoning them and asking very nicely, because obviously we didn't have a clue. We were sort of like, well, is Darren supposed to go over there and get it? Or, so at that point I was climbing the walls, not literally, obviously, but my whole eye socket felt like a bruised mess, and it felt like I had glass underneath my eyelid. As I say, I was in not a good place with it. I was not coping well with it. It was looking worse and worse. It's fine. No, I didn't take pictures for you.
No.
I'm quite a private person in some respects.
No.
And to be perfectly honest, I was so light sensitive. Yeah. But anyway, we tried the drops. We had to try them all the way over the weekend, like the bank holiday weekend, and realised very fast that they weren't actually working. In actual fact, it just seemed even worse. And by that point, I was in absolute agony with it. So we phoned up the surgery again, because my favourite doctor said to me, because he wasn't sure it was allergies, but it wasn't far enough along to tell what it was. And he said to me, if it gets any worse, phone in. Well, of course, I could have done 111. I know I could have done. But I also am aware that over a bank holiday weekend, people get silly with drink and they end up at hospital and things like that. I just can't cope with that.
Yeah.
And plus, we wanted to give the stuff enough time to see whether it would work. By Tuesday, I had no white to my eye. It was angry red.
It was blood red all the way around it. The whole thing.
It looked horrendous from what I could see of it, because this is.
It looked like a steak. It's what it looked.
There was a white film over my
lens.
And I won't lie to you, I was really worried.
Yeah.
Now, I couldn't see a lot of this, but what I could see is obviously what I could see out of this eye, which was pretty much not very much. It was horrendous. I couldn't see. It was like there was somebody had put loads and loads of film over it, and it was just not good. So we phoned the doctors again, and I spoke to a very nice locum on duty, and he was pretty convinced it could only be one of two things, from what I'd given and what he'd gained from the details from my own doctor. The problem is with them is one thought was he had, as I say, both of them are rare, but one thought he had was it was an inner eye infection, which doesn't sound very serious. It is. You can lose your sight.
You can lose your eye.
You can lose your eye. And the other one is a
the same sort of bit, but it's
same thing, but at the back of the eye
as well.
So he said to me, the problem is he can't. I had to at that point. I knew I had to go to the eye hospital, A&E, because basically, if they gave the wrong treatment on a guesswork, that could also make me lose my sight. Yeah. Hallelujah.
Yeah. Fortunately enough, with the Brighton, they have got an A&E eye hospital.
That's right. Now, the doctor didn't just say, he knows I'm housebound. They all pretty much know me down there because I'm not rude to them, which is, I think, probably why they know me. But he went through a bit of finding the safest way of me getting down the stairs. It wasn't going to be pleasant. It wasn't going to be easy, and it was going to be downright dangerous. We knew all these things. So he had to come up with a plan with us to how I was going to do it. Now, because I'd been feeling pretty rough with it, to be honest with you, the only thing I seemed to be able to stomach for the last week was cucumber white rolls, or we don't buy white bread, but we have white rolls in occasionally. Yeah. And it's the only thing that I could really stomach to eat, which is ironic when, I usually suffer with horrendous indigestion with cucumber. Anyway, not cutting a long story short, because I'm giving you the full-on what's it. Yeah. On the morning, I suffer with anxiety as well, which isn't great. Plus, the stairs genuinely frighten me. My heart starts pounding out my chest. I have to stop a lot. It's incredibly, excruciatingly painful. And to top that off, because I've got restricted airways and asthma, it means that it makes me out of breath very quickly. It's not safe for me to use the stairs, and it is only when it's been in serious reasons to do it.
Sort of, yeah.
So after getting down the stairs, I'm not going to go into that because honestly, PTSD. And it was even worse on the way back up afterwards. I'll get into that. We went to A&E. No, we waited quite patiently. Well, we waited patiently. I had my mum with me as well as Darren, which was nice because it was the first time I'd seen her in a very long time in an actual physical bodily person, even though I could only sort of see her because this eye has been getting quite tired from doing all the work of that one as well. And I was not only that, with what was up with me, it exhausted me. I was sleeping a lot, but I was really frightened when the doctor said about the fact that, no holds barred, these two things can make you lose your sight, and if you use the wrong treatment, that can as well. And it's sort of like, it was scary. And I'm usually I try and look at things in the positive flip. And in the end, the only reason I could get to sleep that night was I argued the fact that at least I'd still have one eye. Okay, this is how I have to get around things.
Yeah.
However, the stairs do cause a lot of problems. So we got down, went with my mum to A&E. As I knew, my mum knows how to be with me anyway, and her and Darren were chatting happily. And it took my mind off with what was going on a little bit. Now, I had a towel over my head, a damp flannel with me, my cauldron, because I was liable to be sick. And yeah, I was a state, really. I just sat quietly though, and I'm not pushy. I don't think I'm any more important than anybody else. They're medical. They know once they've seen you how urgent you are compared to everybody else. So we waited a fair whack of time. However,
we waited a couple of hours
we
before
had a really nice nurse come over to us, and he said, look, you're obviously in a lot of pain. I'll give you this drop. It should help. Bless his heart, it didn't help. But I said, oh, thank you very much. And he came back later and he said, oh, has it helped? And oh, yes. Because I was sitting there thinking, I don't want to see the disappointment on his face at this point. And as he's not going to be someone that's testing me, it's not a problem. So this is also how I think. Because at the end of the day, he'd come over genuinely concerned because I had a towel over my head. It was horrendously hot in there, and I was not. That was another problem with the heat. Because, as I say, on early menopause, which is what caused lots of other problems in the meantime. Went to the doctor. Got seen by the nurse first.
Yep.
And she was going through the normal chart bits. Then she went through my medical bits. She ran out of room.
Yeah.
She ran out of room for my medical bits. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
So computers don't even gain enough space these days for them.
Yeah. But then she rushed you through, didn't she?
She looked into my eyes and both of them were checked.
Yeah.
But she looked into this eye and she was like, that's not good. And I'm thinking, and she was asking us different bits, whether I had this, that, and or the other sort of thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of things were yeses, unfortunately. But yeah, there were quite a few as well that were no's.
Yeah.
And I got really excited when she asked about my cholesterol, because I've never had high cholesterol. So I sort of hold on to that, and I go, yes, I can say no, I haven't got that.
Yeah. Well, saying to her, she was going, oh, we've got this. You've got a little bit wrong. I said, yeah. I said, yeah, it's like bingo. Yeah,
literally.
Got the bingo card, got that one. Hey, we're going to add this one to it now. But hey, rock and roll.
She actually, she took us out to the next waiting area bit. She kept going around chasing after the next available person.
Yeah.
And then the next nurse I saw who did the
scan,
they had to put the drops in to inflate your iris. If you're a diabetic, you'd know, but it inflates your pupils, so it makes them really wide, like a surprised cat sort of thing. It's quite uncomfortable with the lights, although, to be honest, it's never really fazed me that much. I've been light sensitive in this eye because it was red raw and horrendous, but that wasn't, so she took the scans. She was really, really good, actually, and then she wheeled me over and they opened a door they wouldn't normally open. Because
you were really hot, yeah.
Because I was, at that point, I was melting, and then she went and got me a freezer pack and wrapped my flannel round it so it could cool a little bit more. Honestly, they were lovely. Now, I would point out at this time, not at one point did we say, oh, can you move us along? Oh, we're disabled. You know, I'm more important. Now, there were people doing it.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah. She was still there when we left. And she got there before us.
If they know, they're the medical ones, they know if there's something wrong with you that's more, you know. And the politer and more well-mannered you are, the more they will feel like they want to do for you, to be perfectly honest. Now, as I said, my mum was with us. She'd been in different waiting rooms with us. My dad kept phoning up because he kept forgetting where she was because he suffers with dementia.
A bit.
Yeah, mild dementia. But he kept forgetting what we were doing. So he knew that she was with us, which was at least something. But anyway, then we saw the doctor. And the doctor's tried putting some more stuff in my eye to make my pupil dilate. He actually asked whether they'd done it in this eye. Yeah. And I didn't trigger it at first, but I said yes, they'd done the stuff. He put some more stuff in, which was like
iodine, sort of bit.
Yeah, it was bright yellow. It was like somebody had opened up one of them highlighters, yellow highlighters. He still couldn't get the eye pupil to move. And he said to me, I know we could sort of tell he was thinking something, but wanted to just get the whole story before telling us. So then he said, I'm just going to go and get a scan, a proper scan bit to look at the back of your eye, because I can't see it because the pupil's not dilating, which we knew was a bit odd. And yeah, he ultrasounded my eye. He said about gel, and I didn't think anything of it at the time. And it came out with this little, I suppose it's what they use on dogs and cats when they're finding out if they're pregnant. It was a really small one for the eye. I was so shocked by it. I actually said, you've just used ultrasound on my eye. Yeah. I was so really stupid thing to say, but I was really shocked.
Because it's swollen on the inside. It's pushing the lens up against the front of the eye. So basically the lens won't move. So the iris doesn't move.
So you've jumped ahead a bit. But
but no, that's why it was.
So that's why the lens wouldn't move, was because it had been pushed far forward. Now, this is one of the things that the doctor thought it was. Now, he had to check for the other thing, which is why he had to use the sonogram doodaddy to look at the back of my eye. He said, back of your eye isn't affected, but the front of your eye, the middle of your eye is. Now, we knew it was serious from what they'd said on the bit. So I've been going through quite intense eye drop therapy at the moment.
Yeah. Once an hour at the moment.
So by the time we'd finished at the hospital, we went back to my mum and dad's. They live in a bungalow, and my body was screaming at that point. I spoke to my dad quite briefly to start off with, because I literally had nothing left in the thing. So I slept in their spare room for a few hours because my body had just given up on me at that point.
Poons.
Say my blood pressure had been horrific all day. My sugar levels wouldn't have. Well, they weren't great because quite simply I hadn't managed to eat anything at all. And I was a bit of a mess. I'm not going to lie about it. I was relieved I was back, but the next thing was I needed to get home. I wanted to get back to my flat because you don't sleep as well when you're not in your own bed, and I wanted to be with the hamsters because they worry, and they genuinely do worry. I don't leave here ever, so it's sort of like when I had to go out before for my eyes last year sort of thing, it was 100 times easier than it is now. But I kept having to stop on the stairs every few stairs because my my heart was pounding out of my chest, because this is essentially the problem. There's so much going on the inside that to use the stairs is actually dangerous, which is why I am housebound, because obviously there's no lift, and it's a great number of stairs, I'll tell you. But yeah, it was just a bit of a mess, really. But managed to get up here in the end after a very long time, a lot of pain. The first thing I did was get Darren to help me change into something into my pyjama-y bits that I'm usually wearing in the flat, because it's cooler and it's. One of the reasons we didn't opt to stay with my mum and dad, other than the hamsters and wanting your own bed, was primarily because it was so hot in there and I was dying. I honestly thought I'd be sort of like this massive muddy puddle.
Muddy puddle?
Not muddy puddle, but wet puddle on the floor sort of thing, and it was making me feel ill. And I knew I'd never be able to eat while it was that hot, and I also knew that there's no way. I shouldn't have taken my morning tablets, which I had to take for the pain, and all the other tablets beside it. I didn't take my diabetic ones, because one in the morning is only if I eat.
Yeah.
But I knew I had to have the heavier duty and at least one lot of that, because it also protects against other things. And yeah, I had to make sure I could eat. So we came in here to the front room. No surprise, Suki. Straight there. She wanted out. So there's me sort of like barely holding it together, but wanting her more than anything else. Darren gave her to me, and she just spent ages cuddling my hand and licking my fingers and rolling round in my hand and just sort of comforting, I suppose you'd use the word. Then Darren popped her back. Then Molly May wanted out, so I had to make a fuss of her, and she had to check that I was all right. Anybody that says hamsters, don't, they really do. You've got to bear in mind we're with them 24/7, and we treat them as our children. And then Pan, bless him, he came out. Well, at that point, I made a fuss of Pan and made sure he knew I was safe. I had to sleep again. So, bless him, Draco, I was going to get Darren to get him out, but I fell asleep before that. So woke up, had some cucumber rolls, shocker. Took my tablets, pretty much fell asleep again straight away. Darren had a hell of a job waking me up, because we decided at that point not to start the
drops
or
morning.
the process until the next morning, because my body was struggling with everything else at the same time. And although you could argue, it's better, it was actually easier.
As I had to give the drops to start off with every hour.
There was no way he could
for
wake
the
me
first few
up.
days. I'd have to wake her up every hour, which meant this is also why we haven't done anything, because Debbie, on the bit where she hasn't been well, she's been sleeping most of the day.
And Darren hasn't been able to leave me, because obviously when I have been waking up, I've been fairly useless.
That's what we've only had some building ones and some colouring book ones going on, because they were already filmed and edited and already put on YouTube for the end of the month.
So fear not, my lovelies, because we have got. I'm going to do some videos today. I think we're going to do Fairy Loot and a couple of Temu ones. Grim and Black have got back to me, because we're still waiting to hear about April's box. I'm perfectly happy with the communication that I've had from them, and that will be sent out soon, and the other box, or the next box after that, which they've already taken for, is coming out its usual time. So you might actually get them quite close together.
The Wizarding Trunk.
The Wizarding Trunk, bless their hearts, they haven't had any information back from Royal Mail. Royal Mail have point blank just ignored their emails asking what's happened with the box sort of thing, because it's supposed to be at Gatwick, and
still it's been a month, a bit over a month it's been at Gatwick now, apparently.
I mean, it's obviously been stolen or something like that. Anyway, they sent one out. They've dealt with it by just not replying, possibly because they got rid of all their original, or most of their original workers that actually did the job. I'm a little unkind about it, yes, although the new postman we've got is absolutely lovely.
We've got another one now.
He was lovely. I don't know what this one's like then. But I do not like how they've dealt with the people that have been working for them. And they seem to be very good at sticking their heads in the sand, and actually every have become more reliable.
It's ironic.
Now, also, just to mention the fact that Grim and Black, the reason they had a problem with getting the April one out was because they had a problem with Royal Mail.
Yay.
I am a bit sore about it because, you know, they always used to be the best. You could depend on them. Yeah. And it just seems to me that you've got these fat cats ahead of it that don't want to share the actual money that they make off of it with the actual workers that do the jobs. And
not for much longer.
Fair.
It's up for sale.
It is up for sale, yeah. Not quite sure how that's going to go. Yeah. But either way, if I'm saying that I actually prefer an every delivery these days, because they have improved around here anyway.
Yeah.
But, I mean, of course, if you want the best of the best, you go DPD in England. But they are horrendously, not horrendously expensive.
But
you can 100%, you know that you're going to get it, pretty much. But it's just like, you know. But no, so that's what's happened with those two boxes. As I said, with the Wizarding Trunk one, they have contacted us and told us that they're sending another one out.
Yeah.
So we're not, again, don't worry, you're not going to miss out any more than I am on seeing that box that we originally started with, because thankfully they held some back in case this sort of thing happens.
Yeah.
Downside is it is coming from America and it does take its time.
Yeah.
I mean, in their statement to us, they said, you know, we use Royal Mail because Royal Mail were the best.
For international, the international deliveries are the best ones, yeah.
But if they're starting to get things, and more people are saying about things going missing and things like that, and it's just such a shame. I always liked Royal Mail. I was always, you know, very fond of the postman, and you know, I'm still fond of the postman, to be fair. I mean, a lot of them are very good still. But yeah, it used to be a really good job and a really fair job. It was blooming hard work because I've known quite a few posties.
Christ, when I was at school, one of my mates, his dad was a postman.
Yeah.
And people used to have to go on years-long waiting lists to try and become a postman. If you were lucky, if you knew someone, you might be able to get a push in a bit earlier. But it was a job that people used to fight for.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I mean, and you'd also find that a lot of people that did work for them, because they stayed there.
Yeah.
A lot of them worked from when they left school, sort of thing, till their retirement. So, you know, it was a prestigious job. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you know, and before email, and you could say it's getting outdated now, but they are the only delivery company that do letters. And although you don't get a lot,
there still are letters.
There still are letters. So it's a bit, you know. Anyway, needless to say, obviously, Pink Poodle, really sorry, my love, we haven't sent it out to you. The box is ready.
Yeah.
It's just that at the
Box is ready,
moment
done
he's
up.
not been able to leave me because he's having to put drops in my eye every hour, and we no longer have a post office
over the
just
road.
over the road. Plus, because they've been building so many houses around our area, we used to have 4 doctor surgeries in
When we
our
moved
area
here, yeah.
when we moved here. Now there's 1.
Yeah.
And, you know, they haven't got the amenities, and we're in one of those smaller places where bigger places sort of like say, oh, if we don't want anything, like the bigger councils, they turn around and say, if we don't want it here,
Yeah.
we'll shove it there.
Yeah,
Which
Lewis.
is horrible.
Lewis do it very often.
Lewis do it a lot, yes.
They'll put it here or New Haven. Yeah.
But, I mean, there's one road in, one road out. There's one road. So, there's more traffic accidents happening. There's horrendous tailbacks and delays. It doesn't affect us, but it doesn't mean I don't care about everybody. You know, I know quite a lot of people in Peacehaven, and at the end of the day, I don't know whether I should have said that.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
You said before.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people in Peacehaven, and honestly, it's got a lovely community feel to it. Always used to, anyway. But I mean, yeah, it's just we haven't got the amenities now. We really haven't, and the fact we've got less amenities now, there are more people is irony in itself, really. But you can't solve the world. I mean, now then, going back to this, because a lot of you are probably thinking, well, how does it happen? Why does it happen? My body attacked itself. That's how it happened. It is nothing that I've done. There is nothing I can do to stop it. The point that the doctor
autoimmune. Apparently, the body attacks itself.
It could be something that recurs. It could be something that they have to do more about if it recurs a lot. The doctor did say to me it's very rare, but what's even rarer and why he wasn't happy with his initial thought was basically it's unheard of for somebody at the age of 47 to get this for the first time. This is something you would normally get in your
20s or 30s,
around your 20s sort of thing, 30s. And then again, it can recur afterwards. They don't know what causes it. They don't know why it happens. They just know that the body's all of a sudden decided to turn around and say, right, we're going to attack this.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know long term how it's going to affect sight in this eye until that's a long process. We've got drops, as I said, every hour. And then it's
you've got drops for over you've got to take drops for over a month.
Yeah. it's not an easy fix, and the worst thing about that is I know I've got to go back for a follow-up appointment, and I can't get away with it. There's no way they can do it online because it's such a serious thing. They need to see you. Now, that means I'm going to have to deal with those stairs again.
Yeah.
But hopefully, without an infection raging so much, my body might be a little bit stronger. It's not going to be great. I'm not supposed to use them. It's end of the day, that is it. But, as you guys know, I love doing my projects, and I've not been able to do anything. In fact, I've been so ill anyway with it. It's been slightly irrelevant. Although, if you ever get in this situation, audiobooks, they're the way to go. And if you're feeling a bit on the sleepier side, play one that you know anyway. So if you do fall asleep, it doesn't matter. But if you're in raging pain and you know there's no way in hell you're not going to sleep, put one on you don't know. Because honestly, that has salvaged me.
Yeah. There are a lot of them on YouTube.
Yeah, there are. Although I will say, Audible, although it might have a lot, it's an awful lot of money when you consider what you get for that. Plus, they haven't actually got an awful lot of free books. They're very good at saying over 1,000, this, that, and the other. But in actuality, it's
but
not.
It's, over a thousand is not a lot of books.
Well,
really.
no, I wouldn't mind that because I can bounce around because I like different subject matters and things like that. But I don't know. It might be something that I go on to try with, even if my eyesight comes back properly. But yeah, so at the moment that's where we are. So for a while you're going to have a few bits with me in an eye patch. Now, I'm not showing you my eye. It's still not very nice.
No.
And
plus, it's
not,
not
suitable
it would
on
hurt
here. Me.
Well, it's not just that; it's not suitable for
it's not suitable
to be on here. And
I mean,
YouTube would probably give strikers for putting it on there.
That's right. What I will say is, if you look it up,
it looks
try
a lot
and
worse
find
than
the
what it
worst
was.
picture you can find, and then double it
At least.
I had no white to my eye.
No.
What happened should not have happened.
No.
And I can sit here and say, oh, it's so unfair. Why? Stuff happens.
Yeah.
It's not nice. And you know, I sort of have the mentality that it's sort of like, I'm going to deal with it because it's just, you know, but I am struggling to look on the brighter side sometimes. But I just keep thinking, at least I've got one eye. Because some people don't even have that. So, you know, it's not the greatest thing, but it just goes to show, guys, if you get anything where you're getting a lot of discharge and things like that, on the upside, that is probably hay fever, allergies, conjunctivitis, or one of the more known things.
Yeah.
If you're getting a really red eye and your socket feels like it's been thumped continually, or you think you've damaged your eye in some way but you can't think how, get it checked out. In fact, get conjunctivitis to get checked out. Anything to do with your eyes, it's so important. And this is coming from a woman where the stares could kill me.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not exaggerating, it's just fact.
Right.
So, yeah. So anyway, guys, I'm going to probably have a rest and something to eat outside of having the eye patch on, and then we're planning on doing some videos with you. So if you've got me wearing the eye patch and I'm looking at you a bit funny, it's because you're not very good focus, because
I haven't got
my glasses on because it pushes down too much at the moment on the
other eye,
on the pad bit. It's fine if I'm watching TV because I shove a very soft tissue down so it doesn't put actually any pressure behind the lens, but I'm devilled if I'm coming on here and having a tissue there.
Yeah, plus we need light as well.
Plus
we've got a light there and a light there.
Enough.
Yeah, so we need the light.
So yeah, so I'm afraid you're going to have to put up with the Goonies One-Eyed Willie at the moment, and that's not me being rude, that is the pirate from Goonies. But yes, so that's about it at the moment. That's everything that's been happening. If you've listened this long, boy, thank you very much.
Such a punishment.
But I wasn't going to hide about it. I'm quite matter of fact. But I also wasn't going to take pictures of myself in hospital because I felt like hell.
Yeah.
And it's just not who I am. I don't mind people doing it. I really don't. But it's just not for me. And to be perfectly honest, I was not in a good place. Right, my lovelies. All that leaves me to say is be different. A very merry unhoo-hoo. And a boot from Patchy.